everybody. Welcome to Tim Talks. I'm Tim Bucher, and this week's episode is all about compost. I know that's a stinky subject for some people, but it's really super important here at Trattori Farms and at many other wineries and olive companies around the country, around the world, really. When you think about it, when you're making wine, you have a lot of waste products after you make the wine in the skins, the seeds, the stems. Where does all that stuff go? Same with olive oil. You grind up all the olives, pits and all, and afterwards you have leftover paste, or olive pumice as we call it. Where does that stuff go? Well, here at Trattori, we designed a custom compost center, as we call it, where I'm standing right here. The smell isn't too bad. What's behind me is all of this year's waste from our cellar, our solid waste. Our liquid waste goes into some other a water recycling plant, which is going to be another episode on Tim Talks that you're going to want to watch. But what I'm talking about here is all of our solid waste. So the what we call the grape pumice and the olive pumice, leftover stems, skins, you name it, for the grapes. So we bring all of that material here, and this is a custom designed. It's like a big swimming pool with a big ramp in it, and it goes down pretty deep at the end. And it's all sealed, so we put the material here, which is usually really wet right after we press the wine or right after we extract the olive oil for the case of the olive pumice. We bring all that material here, and if you look at the very end, you'll see this straw wall. And that straw is tied to basically a mesh, a metal wire mesh. It's actually a rebar mesh. And what that straw acts as is a filter. So all the liquids that are in that material basically it flows towards the end down there. And that straw wall is about a foot away from the concrete wall behind it in the back. And as the liquid seeps through that straw, it actually goes into drains. And that's compost tea that we then pump into a tank, that big green tank that you may have seen in the picture I showed about our whole compost center. And then the solids basically dry out. And to the right of this building, we have this huge concrete pad where we put it out every year before we spread it with a special spreader called a mulch spreader. And that mulch spreader lays the compost right down on the rows. It has spinners on the back. You can see in this picture here, the spinners lay the compost down onto the rows, and we also spread it on our olives, but mostly in our vineyards every year. So that way, every year we amend our soils with this great compost solids, and then we take the liquids and we actually inject it into our irrigation system so we can actually put that compost tea exactly where we want it. So this is our compost tea tank, 10,000 gallons at a time. We usually do about 20,000 gallons a year. And all those liquids come here. We have a big air pump that blows air bubbles into it, which just makes the nutrients a lot more concentrated. And then when it's ready to be delivered to our irrigation system, we pump it from here all automatically up to our main irrigation distribution center and filtration center. And then it goes directly to the drip emitters, going directly to our vines and to our olive trees throughout the entire ranch. Here we are next to our main irrigation distribution center, if you will. And what we have is we have a pipe that comes up here from the big compost tea tank, goes into a pump, and then that pump pumps it in and blends it with fresh water from our well, which goes through this big filter here, which is all automated. And then that filter comes out in this big pipe down here. I guess it's about a 3-inch pipe. And that goes to all of our zones all over the ranch. And those zones are controlled by these automated valves that we have computers controlling. And we can, again, inject however much of a blend of compost tea to fresh water we want where. And then after we inject the compost tea, the fertilizer, we then run fresh water so that it, for usually quite a few hours, to really get those nutrients down deep into the roots. And it's one of the best ways to fertilize our plants here. And so this week's topic, which was all about compost, I know it's sometimes a stinky subject, but we think it's a beautiful subject here at Trattori, and it really helps our our grapevines be much healthier, as well as our olive trees. And it's all about sustainability, keeping all of our waste products here on the land, and turning them into something really valuable to create even better products for you. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching Tim Talks. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.